See what she thinks. What do you think? You like it?
Moody, right?
Oh, Ari, you got to make her do the wave. Do the wave.
Oh, you got to start the wave over here. Ready?
Ready? Okay.
All right.
Are you bringing it back? Oh.
All right, we got Lorena doing the wave.
To the
That's exactly why we came to Mexico. Welcome back to Meet Unshackled here at Canna Mexico World Summit 4th edition, and Dimitri Downing with
Ari Munoz.
Rita Valenzuela.
I should say Dimitri Garcia Downing
Yegoles.
since we're in Mexico. Yegolas.
Yegolas.
But we are thrilled to have
Little River. Little
She
River.
caught me.
That's what they call it.
We should make this about me because we are with Lorena Beltran, one of the most important individuals in Mexican cannabis. So we're going to try, we only have 30 minutes, we're going to try to get into her whole story and how she began getting involved in Mexican cannabis and try to get you as much information as possible. And you'll know at that point you just need to connect with her. So how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good.
So happy to be here with you guys and that you guys came to Mexico for
Right?
this.
Thankful.
Well, we appreciate you. You are one of my go-to Mexican hosts. And I always tell people just, you want to find out what's going on in Mexico in cannabis, call Lorena.
Call Lorena.
Thank
Lorena.
you. Call me. Yeah.
That's you. So let's get into you and how you started in cannabis, because I know you go back to the Colorado days. Let's start at the beginning.
Yes, since the beginning. So I'm from Chihuahua, Mexico.
Nice.
Chihuahua, where the Chihuahua dogs
No, I know.
were raised and born.
I don't,
No, just
They're all
kidding.
from Chihuahua.
I'm trying to keep this professional.
Yeah. So and fun.
Business.
So yeah, I had to leave from Chihuahua to Colorado because we were going to really tough years. The former president back then declared the war on drugs, and it was pretty hard on the border. So Chihuahua border with Texas, Ciudad Juarez, super dangerous. It wasn't a safe place anymore for anybody. So I decided to go to Colorado, and as soon as I get there in end of 2013, they legalized the recreational market. So for me, it was shocking because I was running away from my country because of the violence around drugs, including cannabis. And over here, you have the whole legalization for recreational purposes. People open up businesses, making money, collecting taxes, and all these things, that for me were very impressed. I was very impressed by everything that was happening. So, but then what got me in the industry more than, this is a beautiful industry, let me get in there. It's like, I need to learn so we can legalize this in Mexico because I just cannot be running away from my home for these issues when, the Americans are already making money out of it.
Doing it.
And before in Chihuahua, you weren't growing in Chihuahua, were you?
Growing?
Growing, yeah. Like
Cultivating?
Oh, no. Back that year, 2013, from 2010 to 2013, it was the most violent period there. So, no, not even. Like,
Didn't even
if
try.
you had a successful restaurant, you could get kidnapped. You had to pay a fee monthly to the cartels. So forget about growing.
Yeah, you're gonna
just
get it taken.
regular businesses
What
were
about
struggling.
consumption and possession in Chihuahua? And how was that?
So Chihuahua is very conservative. It's a very conservative state. So I was never around too many people that smoke weed until I met my ex-boyfriend and he introduced me to it. I started smoking when I was 25 years old. And yeah, those were the hard years. So at the same time, I felt, a little bit guilty of like, I'm smoking and having fun, but at the same time, there's people out there getting
to
killed
jail.
for this, and so it was a weird period. But when I got to Colorado, I got on a mission. I was like, I'm learning this. I'm getting into politics. I'm gonna learn as much as I can from medical, recreational, industrial, everything, and I'm gonna go back to Mexico. And little by little, I found my way back after learning and being part of incredible companies such as Charlotte's Web, working with the Stanley Brothers. I think that was my cannabis university.
Nice.
And then jumping into a recreational company, Wolfpack Cannabis, and then they sent me to Colombia to help them get licenses. So I
Very
learned
cool.
so much in like 4 years.
Hit all the parts.
2013, 2017.
Yes.
And then you migrated back to Mexico.
Yeah, because in 2017, at the beginning of the year, the legislators, the Senate was talking about legalizing medical cannabis. So I was like, this is the opportunity. And then I became an external advisor in the Senate, helping legislators that wanted to approve the law. And finally, it happened in June of 2017, same month that I had Cannabis Salud for the first time. So
And Cannabis Salud is a grand gathering of advocates, business members.
right. So I decided to do this cannabis summit mainly for health professionals because it was a medical law. So I was like, they're gonna approve this law, and where are the doctors gonna go? Who's gonna provide some type of information or guidance? So I decided to do this conference, and it was a great success since the first year because there was so much interest from doctors, scientists, and politicians in general. So I've been doing it every year. The first 3 years focused on medical, and as we started evolving the conversation, people getting more interested in industrial and adult use. Then I decided to do another version of Cannabis Salud, which is a business and investment summit.
So is there now 2 or just 1?
So I'm planning on having both for the first time, if not next year, the year after, because they're different type of conferences.
Yeah.
So now Cannabis Salud Business and Investment Summit takes place in Cancun, and I think it's going to stay there. And I want to go back to Mexico City and do Cannabis Salud for health professionals.
Very nice.
And the Cannabis Salud in Cancun is and this is just one of your projects, and we're going to get to a bunch of things. That Cannabis Salud, which is what's the website of that, and when is that event?
Yeah, so it's cannabisalud.com. Social media, we have everything from LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Cannabis Salud MX, you can find us right away. And this event is going to be end of May, beginning of June. We're about to close the exact dates.
Next year,
2023. So just follow us on our website, social media, so you can find out about the exact dates in the next couple of weeks. And everything that we have to offer, because at this Business and Investment Summit, it's an exclusive event, meaning that it's small, it's for 300 people, it's executive level, people with intermediate to advanced knowledge in cannabis, so we can connect you with the right people to expand your business, to connect you with funds, investors.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's very
So
entertaining
people
too.
who want to start their brand or take their brand to the next level, you would recommend going there?
Yeah.
am I still invited?
Yes, you are. And you too.
She said exclusive. I'm getting worried now.
You're part of this list.
I've been to the other ones. Okay, so, and very important, if you're looking to migrate or do business in Mexico, Cannabis Salud is a great, and you can't get a hold of Lorena, or she's working on too many projects, she can't help you, or she dismisses you as a client.
No.
Yeah, so
She's a queen.
Yeah, so, well, she's a busy lady. Go to Cannabis Salud, and you'll meet a lot of other people there. It's a C-suite, executive level event in Cancun in May and June. And did we give the website?
Yeah,
Yes.
cannabisalud.com.
Okay, so we got that out of the way, which is, it's a very valuable bit of information that people should know. Just like President Fox event, Canada, Mexico, that we're at, it's the gathering point for executives, thought leaders, advocates, and legislators, media, and people who are like changing the laws and trying to do business.
Correct.
So you got that we got through that project and where that's at right now. But in 2017, you also started your other projects. I know you consult and you help companies migrate into Mexico. Let's talk about that and see if we can get a couple minutes into the current status of Mexican regulations.
Yeah, so also in 2017, I created a company called Endonatura Labs, which I co-funded with businessmen in Mexico, 3 brothers, amazing people that believed in my vision and my business plan. And we were one of the 13 companies to get import permits in 2018. Then the government changed. They changed the regulations. They tried to void our permits, and we had to take them to court because that was also against the law.
Against it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because we did everything under laws and regulations. We did everything correctly. So it took us almost 3 years to get our permits back, fighting in court. And we finally got them back, and these import permits are for raw materials. So in the Natura Lab, what it does is imports these raw materials that are pharma grade, and we supply the pharmaceutical industry that right now are starting to do formulations for clinical trials.
Clinical. So we're not even at clinical trials yet.
They're barely in like
stage.
pre-clinicals, first phase. So to see these products on the market is going to take a few years, but we needed to start.
At least you know they're tested, right?
Yeah, so our raw material is going into these places to be tested, to be doing research formulations, and hopefully in the near future we're going to see those raw materials already in an end product with these companies.
Where do you guys import from?
From Czech Republic.
Czech Republic.
Nice.
So when you mean raw materials, what does that mean?
Raw materials means isolates, CBD and CBG isolate, and in a distillate form as well, and a full spectrum with less than 1% THC. All are pharmaceutical grade, EU GMP, all the certificates that the pharma industry requires in order to use it as an ingredient for a pharmaceutical.
Okay,
Nice.
and that's, I mean, your level of expertise, we could do 50 years on you. So what kind of companies should you reach out to in regards to this one-on-one consulting and the opportunities that you can help them in this space?
So first of all, I think to help people understand our rules and regulations, number one. Second, one thing is to explain what's written, and another one is to explain how to navigate it,
Yeah.
right? How to find those little holes that make the difference in a business,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And connect you to the right people, because I don't know everything, but I know a lot of people,
Yeah.
right?
Point them in the right direction.
Yeah, so unfortunately, when you come to Mexico, you run into a lot of people that just wants money and makes fraud and offers fake licenses and stuff. So I make sure I connect you to the right lawyers, consultants of any type, different expertise, in order to make sure that your money is going in the right place,
Yeah.
and you're not going to
Yeah.
be losing like crazy.
Fortunately, over the last 4 years, there's been a lot of that. And it's going to put a lot of people off about Mexico is, it's like, hurry up and wait and give me money and I'll connect you, and nothing's happening.
Right.
There's a lot of people that got offended.
Yeah, and that's mainly for like foreigners that want to come to Mexico. But for Mexicans, I love to help startups that need a little bit of guidance. For example, if they're bringing a new product to the market, to help them understand what they need to do in order to comply with certain regulations that maybe we don't have right now, but they will come. So they have to be ready with the product that can comply with the future regulations, because I'm talking about these startup companies, let's say in the legacy market, that exists and that it's huge in Mexico, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to be careful with what you're selling just because it's not being regulated by COFEPRIS yet. But there's a market, there's a consumer, so let's make sure that what you're giving, at least, it's not going to hurt anybody,
Yeah.
has quality, and it's going to help you, because if you have the right label, child-proof packaging and all these things, once it becomes legal, you're going to be ready.
Yeah, you
You know?
already
Sure.
have it done.
Yeah,
The
so
word's out there.
we try to help those Mexican companies, to do that.
So,
Very
okay, so you got Cannabis Salud, that's your big project, Endo Natural Labs. And what else have you done in the cannabis industry here in Mexico, or other things that you'd like to talk about?
Well, I'm also a speaker. I get invited to all kinds of conferences around the world to speak about Mexico and, the challenges that we have and opportunities as well. So that's one of the things that I enjoy the most.
Okay, and that gave me the segue, because I wanted to get into your advocacy as well, and it kind of relates to your knowledge of the laws and how that all came about, because I know you meet with the senators and diputados and everyone to discuss how the
Yeah.
market structures and the regulatory structures could work, should work, might work, and nobody has absolute answers, but you share a lot of information and put a lot of people together. So where is Mexico now You know, where are we at now? And maybe you want to start from how we got to where we're at now, or just.
So I'm gonna try to be as.
Yeah, no, it's like a dissertation, but maybe like 5 minutes you can.
Yeah, in 5 minutes. Okay, it's gonna be hard. You can contact me if you're more confused than before.
Yeah.
Cup of
Any
coffee.
more questions?
Yeah. But anyway, we have a medical cannabis law, which is now very restrictive with the new regulations of this new government coming in. Means that everything falls in the pharmaceutical industry. So medical cannabis in Mexico, it's not like medical cannabis in the US or Canada. It's actually medical cannabis is pharmaceutical cannabis. So if you want to cultivate, process that plant into an end product, has to go into a pharmaceutical lab. So I can grow plants. I need to have certain permits to do that and certifications in order to have the quality inside my greenhouse or indoor facility. And then in order to extract, you also need certain permits for your extraction facility to make sure that you have those certifications that pharma requires, because at the end with that raw material, the concentrates, you can only sell it to somebody that has a pharmaceutical lab.
And is that less than 1% CBD, or is that THC as well?
It doesn't matter. There's can be THC, high CBD, if you produce it in Mexico, as long as you have a buyer who has a pharmaceutical lab. So it has to go to them, no matter what.
And it can be more than 1%?
Can be more than 1% because the government, you're making sure that your extract is going to go into a pharmaceutical lab that's going to do clinical trials on that
Makes
oil,
sense.
on that formulation that they make with these raw materials.
Makes
So there aren't any pharmaceutical THC products that have, or CBD, that have been released to the pharmacies yet.
Not yet, but we're very close. There are some dermatological products because they only take a year or two on clinical trials. So we're going to start to see mainly those products on the market probably next year. But then the other type of pharmaceuticals are going to take a little longer because it's a clinical trial,
Yeah.
So.
How many years do you think it'll take?
Depends on the condition that you want to treat with that product, but it can go from 3 years to 15 years.
Okay.
Depends if you want to, treat a specific cancer. I'm sure it's going to take longer than if you're trying just to treat pain, for example, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm a company seriously committed to the medicinal benefit of cannabis and a high-grade, medicinal therapeutical product, and want to get it through the Mexican system, you can help them with that.
Yes, we have a team of experts that can help you do the registration of your product. So if you're already doing preclinicals on your formulation on your product, we can bring those preclinicals and clinical results to Mexico and validate them here.
So you can use other countries' data.
Yes,
Okay.
and some companies are getting that, interested in that part because clinical trials in the U.S. are way more expensive than Mexico, right?
Right.
So they are trying to migrate their data to Mexico
over
to
here.
continue the clinical trials here. We can do that. And of course, there's some dietary supplements that are finding their way to get imported into Mexico. The route is mainly through court, to getting an amparo.
We're going to talk about amparos.
Amparos. Oh
We'll get
my
to
God.
that. We'll get to that next. But keep
Yeah.
on going. Are there people doing in vitro studies as well?
In vitro.
In vitro, where they test the cells, to see how it reacts without actually testing the people?
I think so.
Like
yeah,
in the
pretty
petri
sure.
dish.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
I got some people doing those in the United States. I thought that was kind of interesting.
In vitro and tissue culture and
Yeah.
several things like that. Yeah.
I learned about that recently.
Save the turps.
What?
Save the turps.
Save the terms. So back to where we were. So a company is looking to get their product in the medical level. They should talk to you.
Yes.
What about a brand like Jeter or Cookies? Cookies, the product, not the retail store. These brands that eventually, because there's a lot of Media USA is connecting to more and more brands,
Right.
and they say we want to get to the Mexican consumer. What's our first step?
Well-
Somebody always told us register your trademark or something like that.
Yeah. So register your
name,
brand,
yeah.
your name in Mexico, If it's a CBD product made with isolates, it's possible that we can register those products and bring them into Mexico. The COFEPRIS, the Mexican FDA, it's been more flexible around isolates, CBD, CBG, mainly CBD. But then when it comes to THC and adult use products, no, there's nothing happening around that in terms of importation.
Yeah.
But again, in Mexico, we have so many Mexican brands out there in the legacy market, but they're positioning themselves, you know, just like many other companies did back in the day in the U.S., right? So Cookies, for example, is the brand that everyone knows in the whole country in Mexico.
Already, why is that?
It's already because they have a huge impact everywhere,
Okay.
and we get so many recreational products from the U.S. into Mexico. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Like a ton. And Cookies is a very well accepted brand, like everywhere else, right? And if you go to like downtown Mexico in Tepito, you find all kind of fake brands, and the most replicated brand is Cookies.
Yeah.
How do you spell
It's a
Tepito?
lifestyle
I've been to
too.
Tepito a few times, but how do you spell it?
Tepito, yeah.
T-E-P-E-T-O? Okay, just so people can Google and go.
Yes, Tepito. Google it.
I would always-
Tepito Cookies.
I would always take my little cousins. They're all be like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and there's a whole bunch of them. And I would carry them through Tepito because nobody messes with a man or a woman
With kids.
who has a little kid with them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's a little bit of a dangerous area.
That's funny.
I mean, technically. Do you go there a lot?
I've been there, but I don't go there a lot.
Yeah, she's like, don't hang out there.
So
Just when I go do my research on like packaging and what they're selling in there
Right.
around cannabis, it's very interesting.
So I mean, we all have like 5, 6 minutes left. So we've already established, look, if you're getting into the commercial, the traditional market, if you want to do this as a serious business, contact Lorena, contact her organization, contact her friends, and they can help you. And if she can't help you, go to the Cannabis Salud conference. We got that. We've got people some good avenues to get in. Let's talk
Point
a
in the
little
right
bit about
direction.
what's really happening on the ground, the legacy market, and
Yeah.
because we were going to go to a dispensary together, and I was down at Expo
Weed.
Expo Weed, and people want to know about a couple things. What is the gray market like in Mexico right now? It must be massive. And then we'll get into maybe what
Yeah.
the cartels are up to.
Yeah.
So what,
I
what,
think
what do
it's-
you hear? What do you know?
I think it's massive. There are states that are now recognized to be, for example, where they have more grows there than any other states, like from indoor to greenhouses. Of course, the outdoor cultivation has been there forever.
Yeah.
You know, it's in the mountains of Mexico
Yeah.
everywhere. The difference is that now farmers are learning and understanding that they need to change a few things from genetics to nutrients to water to like all these things that matter a lot in order to have a better product and make more money,
Yeah.
right? So we see that evolution into our farmers, and you have all kinds of people getting into this industry, from the ones that have been there forever, from generations to like younger people, you know, new generations interested in it. So just in like Mexico City, the largest city, 26 million people, you have a lot of indoor grows, you know, hidden, of course, underground. They're there. Then you have
Not
this.
that you've seen any.
I haven't seen any. And of course, dispensaries. Very few that have like physical spots, retail stores. They're mainly e-commerce, and there's a huge, let's say, type of business doing e-commerce. You know, e-commerce.
Like delivery?
Deliveries. They have like Telegram groups, WhatsApp
Yeah.
groups, or just through social media. And every week they're sending you the
Menus.
menu. They update it every month, and the menus are sometimes like 100 of pages
Yeah.
Oh my
of
gosh,
all
yeah.
the products in the U.S. plus the national products.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
You know,
like
Grams, eighths.
It just struck me. Maybe it's better if Mexico doesn't legalize.
sometimes I think the same.
I wonder that because we're always complaining about the legacy market not getting involved and social justice and people not being able to participate and small farmers and mom and pops and the situation in the United States is not conducive to that. And if we don't know where Mexico is going to end up, and maybe you could talk about a little tension between the different types of market structures. But if nothing happens except for decrim, then all these people who are just doing their thing will just keep doing their thing more without a regulatory structure.
Because when you have a regulatory structure, then you open the doors to big companies, big money,
MSOs.
and they wipe out the
All the
legacy
little
market. And right now, the legacy market is the one benefiting, really from what's going on,
So here we're going to get into white collar Lorena versus blue collar Lorena. Let's talk about the differences in the regulatory structures that Mexico is looking at.
So before we jump into that, I just want to say that another thing that why it would also be good to regulate
I thought you were going to say this is not an official position.
the market is that then you don't have to worry that much from the cartels and the bad people, like the violent ones, right?
Yeah. I mean,
regulatory.
Because in their minds, it's also like, oh, it's already legal. Well, we're done. There's nothing else we can do, right? Because I've heard from people. And if we keep it illegal, they think it's still just their business. And so if you're doing it, you need to pay me or you're in trouble, right? So
Pros and cons to each one.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, hopefully we have more consciousness inside our Congress, and hopefully smart people that can understand Mexico's situation and regulate accordingly. Because we can all benefit and everybody can be happy, from the cartels, because we're not going to be able to raise them or forget about them. We have to include everybody.
Well, won't they just kind of migrate into other businesses? Aren't they just mostly people who are looking for a quick buck, not necessarily in love with cannabis?
Exactly. Quick buck and
less regulations.
Anything that makes money, If I have a prosperous business, if I have a taqueria in the corner and I'm making money, they're going to be after me and asking me for money anyway. So now imagine cannabis. If they do that with bars, restaurants, the grandma store, like they don't care. So
you gotta go through it.
Yeah, what's the government gonna do about that?
Yeah.
How are we gonna be secure if they regulate it? We're gonna be paying taxes. I think that's the main responsibility of our government, to take care of the people that want to do this the right way and maintain everybody secure.
Yeah.
And I think it gets really complicated too. Like you can go to a small village in Oaxaca and have a couple experiences down there, and it's not cartels, but a group of young men who are just punks, and they control the marijuana trade.
Yep.
So that's kind of cartel, but they're not. It's not this like mysterious organized mafia that people perceive.
Exactly.
But they're connected to the people that come through from the next village. And everybody's connected to everybody, and they're all interwoven with the local police and stuff. And
that's why I hate to put labels. When we say cartel, we think about the worst. But inside these organizations, you also have good people. Not everybody's a killer or violent, It's people that you just want to make a living.
Are we okay on time? What's going to happen? You need to put another battery?
Yeah, I got to pause it if you guys want to keep going.
Push pause, and then we'll put it.
I have to pause that one.
Okay, push pause.
Okay.
All right, back. It edits well together.
Yes.
So don't worry about it. So where were we at? We were talking about the involvement of the cartels and the potential, the myth, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And there's some good people.
Good people, and let's not put tags anymore. We have a little bit of everything everywhere. Just like in politics, we got good people, not so good, bad people. It's same everywhere.
You sound like Donald Trump. I like it. No, but I mean, here I now live in a world where I try not to categorize.
Right.
I try not to generalize, and people who do actively, I just kind of I kind of move away from, and people are not categories. They're individuals. They're autonomous. Respect the individual, respect the data point. And I think that's a lot of what's getting lost nowadays, and why you see all this populism is people are like, I'm a human, I'm an individual, I'm an autonomous being, I'm not this thing that government and society can just manipulate, and so.
Yeah.
But that's a bigger, deeper philosophical question.
I agree.
So Cannabis Salud, Endo Natural Labs. That's the two best ways to get in touch with you.
Yes, mainly Cannabis Salud, since it's honestly the conference that put us on the global map.
Yeah.
And yeah, Cannabis Salud. And my personal social media, I'm public. I'm here to connect and
Oh,
help.
yeah.
And what's your
I follow
social
you on
medias?
Instagram.
Yeah, my Instagram is Lorena Belt. And the rest, just type Lorena Beltran, and you'll see some
It'll pop up.
cannabis leaves around me. That's me.
Have you ever thought about doing your own brand?
Yes,
Like
I
Lorena's
think, yeah,
something?
I'll do Lorena something. Some people are already telling me to do like La Reina del Norte or like
Okay.
things like that, and I'm like, I'll wait for that one until it becomes legal. But now I'm thinking about more like a paraphernalia brand, or
Like flower or like pipes and stuff like
yeah,
that. Merch.
something. Yeah, I'm looking at like very unique designs that I can work with. People here in Mexico. So we'll see. We'll see. It's in my
Coming
mind,
soon.
but
Coming soon.
And-
it will come soon.
Last question before we close up. When do you see adult use? What do you see in the horizon?
So, being very realistic, we thought it was going to happen during this presidency with
Yeah,
Andres
AMLO,
Manuel,
right.
with AMLO. He didn't do it. He's not going to do it. He only has like a year and a half left.
Now, has he said he's not going to do it?
He said he's not going to do it.
Okay, because he's got 3 more Congresses. He could do it, right?
Can you imagine like what he said on the last time he spoke about cannabis on the mañaneras? His morning conferences every single day, Monday to Friday. You can listen to him.
I thought Mañanera was something else.
El mañanero.
Is that
That's
you know what that
something
is?
else.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway.
that's okay. We'll close your ears. The Mañanera.
Yeah, he said that
Sorry.
he is not interested in making money through taxes legalizing a drug. So he's like not interested in taxes that comes from a drug. So
Still a
he's-
drug to
yeah.
him.
He's like, health, it's priority, not the money.
But there's rumors that he uses it for health reasons, isn't it? Those are rumors.
So many rumors, but
Skepticism.
at the same time, it's like contradicting himself because he's saying, I'm not going to put health money first and then health by taxing a drug, but then we have so many papers and scientific research that it benefits your health, right? The plant
Right.
has medical benefits, so he is coming from uneducated response,
Yeah.
from a conservative
know
mind,
everything.
yeah, from a religious perspective because he's a hardcore Christian and he has a lot of the Jew community around him
Carries
too.
the stigma.
So yeah, he carries the stigma, and he already said no, it's a drug. So we're hoping for the next president.
we can all change. Sometimes it takes a while for people to learn
Some
what's good for them.
education.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, exactly. So hopefully next president.
He'll get it. He'll have a friend or a relative, but he'll change eventually. Maybe he'll be 75 or 80 and long past the president.
Yeah.
But no one can deny the therapeutical value, the homeopathic, holistic, naturopathic value of cannabis.
Yeah.
It is a natural substance
Yeah.
that's been used around the world.
Or
for,
maybe he does know and he uses it, but it's just in his agenda not to
Yeah.
approve it, and because he has other
people.
interests and other people that don't want it to happen
So when is the next presidency coming up?
in a year and a half.
Year and a half.
Year and a half or so.
That's
yeah.
not that long.
No.
Well, I mean, think about all the people in jail, though. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Mexico must be filled with people that are in jail for
Yeah.
marijuana-related
Oh, yeah.
crimes.
And mainly women. It's a higher percentage of
That's
women
what I
in
heard.
jail for that. Yeah.
Why is that again?
I guess because men use women as mulas.
Yeah.
And they're
Take
the
'em
ones
across.
taking it across or just doing
They're
transportation.
less
of
likely
it.
to get pulled over.
And they get cut, and sometimes most of the times they do it for their boyfriends, their husbands, that convince them to do it, or of course also for the money.
Yeah.
There's so much poverty in this country that people are willing to do anything.
Are a lot of people, a lot of the advocates focusing on that at the national level, talking about that? Is that a big movement?
Unfortunately, no. I think it's very, very, very few. Well, there's a group that's doing an amazing job called Regulación por la Paz.
We met them.
Yeah.
Regulación por la Paz.
Yeah.
The leader there is Sara Snap, and
She's from Colorado.
she's from Colorado, but she was raised in Mexico. She's been here for a very long time, drug policy expert, and the umbrella of Regulación por la Paz brings many other nonprofits and organizations, including Cannabis Salud is, joining, and many different groups from doctors to patients to just advocates. And yeah, she always brings that to the conversation.
So they bring
that
a lot
topic.
of education.
Yeah,
right?
but I think we need definitely more.
Yeah.
More of that.
Knowledge is power.
Yep.
And cooperation, community.
cooperation.
Yeah.
There's power in numbers.
Yeah,
That's where
there
you're
we
going
go.
with that.
Power in numbers.
So Lorena, it's been our absolute pleasure to interact with you and to interview you. And I mean, you are my go-to person in Mexico because
Yes.
you have so much going on. You give people a little bit of time, maybe over a cup of coffee. I make them buy me dinner, but that's just take her to a cup of coffee and
Dinner.
I need
she'll-
to learn more from you.
she'll,
Yeah,
she'll
good dinner.
send them in the well, hours of mine. Don't expect to get her for free because you need to pay her hourly. So if you see this, you just call her and say, Lorena, I need some consulting on where things are at, what to do with my brand, my company, my idea in Mexico, and I know you charge $300 an hour. Is that about right? Somewhere in there?
Between
So-
200 and 300, depending.
Okay, well,
Depending
see
on
how
the
nice
task.
she is. She
You
drops
need,
it
yeah.
down automatically. But no, honestly, I mean, the people are going to be looking for experts in the Mexican industry as it evolves, and it's our honor to present you to our audience. And you're going to keep growing with the industry, so it's exciting to just be hanging out with you.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you so
thank you for
much for
teaching
the
us some stuff.
invitation, and I'm here to help. We're here to serve. I think that's our
Yeah.
main mission as
Yeah.
humans, to serve and do good.
Right? Make the world a better
It's so
place.
simple.
Well, thank you
love
for
that.
joining us.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
tuning in to another episode of Mira Unshackled.